Thank you for staying. First in the news, the Coalition of Unpaid Teachers has issued a strong warning to the government to immediately clear outstanding salary arrears or risk nationwide protest. Despite a series of demonstrations held throughout 2025, the group says more than 6,000 teachers across the country continue to suffer severe financial hardship. They attribute the situation to administrative delays and the failure of the Ghana Education Service to issue the required staff identification cards. According to the coalition, many affected teachers have reported to post for between 10 and 15 months, but have been paid only 2 months of work. Speaking at a press conference in Accra, lead convener of the coalition, Enoch Paul Lativo, said the group will be left with no option but to embark on a nationwide demonstration if the government fails to address their concerns by the end of January.
We firmly call on the government of Ghana, the Ministry of Finance, the Ministry of Education, the Ghana Education Service to urgently address the following through this press briefing. 1. Payment of all outstanding salary arrears. All remaining staff identification numbers. 3. Correction of assumption of duty dates. 4. The rectification of errors in ranks, points, and management units. 5. Inclusion of missing names on both the master and the revalidation list. 6. Validation of teachers who have staff identification numbers but remain unvalidated. And finally, payment of arrears to validated teachers whose outstanding salaries have not been captured on the e-pay slip. We expect these matters to be comprehensively resolved within this month of January 2026. We cannot wait any longer, given that the majority of our colleagues who began work alongside us in September 2024 have received their full salary arrears with effect from September 2024. We urgently need our outstanding salaries to settle accumulated debts, pay our rent, cover healthcare expenses, and meet our basic living needs amid the mounting responsibilities we face. Failure to do so will leave us with no other alternative but to lawfully take to the streets to demonstrate and demand the justice we rightly deserve.
He further warned that the coalition will pursue legal action against the government in line with labor laws should the arrears remain unpaid beyond the end of January.
The legal action aspect that we are considering is what we find in the labor laws of Ghana. Okay, I've forgotten the article. It's not at my disposal yet, but when you employ somebody, it's a contract, an agreement, and if you don't pay the person for a number of months, the person has the right to follow the legal procedures to go to court for his or her issues to be addressed by the judicial system of Ghana. So with that being said, we will follow the laid down legal procedures. We will seek legal consultations and advice. Then we'll take it up from there for our issues and concern to be addressed should government not address our concerns this January.
My colleague Fatal Berger joins us via Zoom for more on this. Fatal, so tell me, are there any fresh demands or deadlines that the coalition outlined at this press conference? Basically, what will be a make or break for them beyond their demands?
Basically, the group expressed frustration today following the fact that they've not been paid for a very long time. And some of the fresh demands that they're making is the fact that, in fact, they said that many of their members, about 150 of them, have not been given their staff identification numbers, which, in fact, is making it difficult for them to be integrated into the, into the system. Apart from that, they also want the GES to rectify some errors in terms of the ranks, points, and then management unit that they say is also critical for them. And one critical thing that they talked about over and over again has to do with the fact that the government or the Ghana Education Service, who they describe as the employer, to fast-track the process in terms of clearing their salary arrears. So these are some of the demands that they've been making. And in fact, they say that by the end of January 2026, if government does not take steps in addressing these concerns, they are going to mount the various streets across the nation to protest until their demands are met.
Beyond the briefing of the media, did they provide very substantive documents to their request?
They were unable to provide documents to back some of these things, particularly.
Did I lose you? We'll try and reconnect at some point or in our subsequent bulletins for this particular story. But okay, I still have you, Bayaga. Did they provide any substantive documentation to their request? Right, we'll try and reconnect again, but this is quite a developing story. They've given government up to January, ending of January, and so we shall be following closely on that story. But away from that, family, constituents, and colleagues of Member of Parliament have bid final farewell to the late MP for Ayawaso East, Nasatire Mahama, a while ago. The MP passed on in the early hours of Sunday at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital after a short illness. His burial rites have just concluded at the National Mosque in Kanda here in Accra, where a number of colleague MPs have eulogized him, describing his demise as a great loss to the NDC, Parliament and his family.
This is a very big blow to the majority caucus and Parliament as a whole. Well, we just began 2026. Nobody expected that this sad news will hit the caucus. I know this hassle of going for by-election and this kind of attacks on individuals is not the best. And if you remember, when we were rising, he was the person who moved the motion for the work plan of GMPC. So it turns to he was in good health. Though he has some challenges, that is personal issue that we can't discuss them. But nobody expected that it would happen at this time.
Well, in the last parliament, Honorable Nasa was our vice chairman and I was secretary of the caucus. So we worked very closely. And
Greater Accra
Caucus, yes. We're the largest caucus. And then in this current parliament, when Honorable Nilante, who was our chairman, left, he became chairman. I was still secretary until my appointment as minister. And then Honorable Ashai Odamtin replaced me as secretary. So I've worked very closely with Honorable Nasa. He's a big brother. He's a big pillar in the region. He was not just our colleague in parliament. For those of us in Greater Accra, he was our father.
What I saw in him was that he was a man of humility, very unassuming, very, very, very down to earth, very connected with his constituents, and above all, a very resourceful person, very resourceful. But very
if you say he's a grassroots person, connected and very resourceful, what exactly do you mean?
What I'm saying is that he was an astute businessman. People who don't know, he owned a number of business, entities. I got closer to Honorable Nasa because he was friends with a very good friend of mine called K.T. Wilson. They both lived in Japan. Because of that, we became friends and was exchanging pleasantries in the Japanese language. Secondly, I became friends with the wife when she contacted me to be representing their company. They used to do a lot of business in fuel, trading, a lot of gas station businesses.
I've actually known him before he came to Parliament. We grew up together in Mamobi.
We live in Mamobi together.
Oh, okay.
So he was our senior brother. That's why those of us from Mamobi call him Macnaza. Before he went to Mecca, he became Alaji.
One thing you can say about Honorable Nasser is his posture. He's an extremely calm person. He doesn't mingle in any unnecessaries. He's very focused, and he has a very good personal relationship.
In other news, and this afternoon, the minority in Parliament criticized the Ministry of Foreign Affairs over its recent statements on the USA's invasion of Venezuela, during which its president, Nicolas Maduro, was captured. In a strongly worded statement, Ghana condemned the actions of the U.S. and demanded the immediate and unconditional release of the Venezuelan president and his wife. But the minority, while supporting the principle, the theme of the release, warns the country against flexing muscles it does not have. Now, have you seen that statement? Here's excerpts of that statement on your screen. Now, the government of the Republic of Ghana is alarmed at the unilateral and unauthorized invasion of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela by the United States of America and the subsequent abduction of President Nicolas Maduro and his wife, Celia Flores, in the early hours of Saturday. Now, the statement continues to say Ghana expresses strong reservations against unilateral use of force and strongly deplores such acts that violate the Charter of the United Nations and international law, as well as the sovereignty, territorial integrity, and political independence of the state. The statement also says the Ghanaian government is keenly following the situation in Venezuela with great concern and notes that such assaults on international law, attempts at the occupation of foreign territories, and apparent external control of oil resources have extremely adverse implications on international stability and the global order. As well, it says that Ghana also notes with deep concern statements by U.S. President Donald Trump that the U.S. will, quote, run, unquote, Venezuela, and quote, until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition, unquote, and that U.S. large oil companies will be asked to go in. And this is how he ends the quote. Now, these declarations are reminiscent of the colonial and imperialistic era. They set a dangerous precedent for the global order. Such colonial ambitions should have no place in the post-Second World War era. That's the statement from the Foreign Ministry as well. But what does an international criminal law as well, Professor, say? Before that, the deputy ranking member of the Foreign Affairs Committee of Parliament and NPP MP for Bosome Freho, Nana Asafo J. says the statement sounded like a small animal barking at a lion.
Only area where I believe strongly that it could have been out of the statement and still the point or the whole menstrual of the statement would still have been clear was where the minister is ordering a release of the president. For me, it sounds like a puppy standing in front of a lion, a big lion barking. The minister is just flexing muscles when he doesn't have. Ghana in itself, since the inception of the minister, has been under the whims and caprices of the U.S. I mean, the U.S. tells you what to do, the U.S. orders you around, the U.S. engage you to do what they want to do, and a whole lot. So you don't have that muscle, you don't have that capacity to order the U.S. to, disengage or order the U.S. to release the Venezuelan president. You don't have it. But see, the subject matter is something that we all must and should look at. The world order. The UN Charter. You see, the UN, the multinationals are the only institution that is still keeping the whole world together.
But a professor of international law at the University of Ghana, Kwejo Appiagyei-Etua, disagrees. He insists Ghana's condemnation of the U.S. conduct is in line with international law.
As a member of the international community, did the right thing, and I commend the president for taking that bold initiative to come out and condemn the act. And the language is also diplomatic. It is not insulting or done in a manner as to violate the sovereignty of the U.S. in any way. So as a member of the UN, Ghana has the right to do that, and I commend the government for doing that. As to whether there may be any implications on the country, I think it's any act the UN against Ghana for responding to such a situation will also violate international law. But Ghana is saying that might is not right, and that what the US has done, somebody has to speak against it. A number of countries have been quiet. Even the EU have been dilly-dallying. They don't know clearly what to say against what has happened in Venezuela. But somebody has to come out boldly and speak against that.
Now, Professor Epiejetia also described the actions of the USA as a flagrant violation of international norms.
Various principles of international law, which may not be specifically mentioned in the UN Charter, but forms part of customary international law. Ghana is a member of the United Nations, and the United Nations Charter is clear that what the U.S. has done is in violation of the UN Charter because it constitutes aggression. It constitutes an armed attack on a sovereign state. And the president, the president who was captured, enjoys immunity as the head of state of a sovereign country. So the processes involved in having him captured and taken to the U.S. to face trial for on those narcotic charges are violently in violation of international law.
Back here in Ghana, a journalist with a class media group has reportedly been assaulted by personnel of the Ghana National Fire Service while covering events at the Kasoa New Market. The incident is said to have occurred when the reporter was filming a confrontation between firefighters and traders at the market following a recent fire outbreak. Information available indicates that the journalist was attacked while attempting to record the exchange between the firefighters and the traders. Watch this. Well, we'll bring you more on this development in subsequent bulletins. Now, though, my colleague Gemma Apia is at the Kasoa New Market and joins us live from the ground. Gemma, what more can you report?
In the Owutu-Senga East District of the Central Region. Yesterday at about 4 p.m., the Ghana National Fire Service received a distress call about a fire incident at this market. We are told that over 300 stalls have been affected and the traders are here today very distraught. The MP for the area was here, is currently actually here assessing the situation with the fire service, the police and some of the shop owners as well. We are told that when the distress call was sent to the Ghana National Fire Service, it took them a bit of time to get here, and so most of the shops got burnt. And the young men in this community say that they were the ones who actually came in to actually help solve or douse the blaze. Now that's the situation here, and you can see some of these traders, affected traders here. They are sitting here waiting to hear something from the MP. I'll be speaking to some of them. Well, they are dodging the cameras, but we understand that goods worth thousands of CDs have been destroyed, and they are pleading with the MP and the local authorities to come to their aid. What exactly is going to happen next? The MP says, and the NADMO says, they are actually putting together the details of the affected traders to know the extent of damage and see what exactly they can do to help these traders. Let me engage some of them. Welcome to Joy News. Tell us exactly what happened yesterday. Then I would say a fire incident in Wasem.
Say, yeah, ben, new market. Today we are saying, honey, the Tia Jemnica, near Banshee, Yabana, Yamanina, Ash, Yamanina, Mrs. Stanley, Yamanina, when you people.
I know my bay.
I want Yama. Just on the bag now, Dina, Nina, she.
Never see a amount's best saying.
Scanadia, yen to me, emboss. You're two dance, you just shut a scat Yamani bimu. Yen to me, kind sky, a woho.
Now, more insurance and Quebec Mabuamo Satime.
Or insurance, or insurance.
See, say, as a mere see, then I'm obey for home.
Say, yes, someone. Yes, should the umbaya fan, Amaya.
What sister, no need insurance for Nakawasem.
A yellow for a fight, yeah.
Nasem no, I ban so saying.
And the Duncan, Onya, way cry, oh, peeping tea. Ne, a console, since I am man, I before not so a crochet. I say, no,
So you heard me speak to the sister of one of the affected traders. She said that when her sister heard of the incident yesterday, her BP went up and they had to calm her down. And now she's at the market today trying to find out exactly what happened and what she's going to do next. The good thing is that she says her sister has insurance and she's hoping that the insurance will cover the incident. Let's speak to more of the traders as well. Let me come here and speak to some of the traders. You are live on the Joy News channel. Please, yes. So yesterday you heard about the fire incident. How did you take it?
It wasn't easy at all. I was still in doubt until I got here. And when I got here, I didn't even know what to say. I couldn't cry because it was too much for me.
It is finished.
What goods do you have in your shop?
I have rubbers, tissues, pack, ropes, sponge, socks, handkerchiefs, a lot. Yeah.
So what are you going to do about it now?
For now, you don't know what to do. Yeah. We have nothing to do. For now, we don't know. So we are still looking up to the government. Yeah.
We understand that the traders met the Queen Mother, and were you at that meeting? And what did the Queen Mother tell you?
I wasn't here when the Queen Mother came, so I can't say anything about that.
Do you have any plans of starting again? What are you going to do exactly?
Yeah, we are going to start again. Yeah, this is not the end of it, so we are going to start again. We are going to start again.
Hello, are you also a shop owner here?
My mom owns a shop here, so like we are all affected, as you can see. Yeah, everything is shattered down. Like we couldn't even take a single thing.
More fear no be framing 4:30. Wakati me say, me kura me say rough for them. Wakati apatana shiu me say oh me fro apatana shi. Was oh me I grow me brand tantam. It's through moment me sorry me buy and buy me betu. Apatani nash.
Inti sese ono ba any day se na enkofo ne ma na na ewo wo shop ni mu no asembe na oda aka kire enkofo no
to mu kasa umba hu mu kasa umba hu enti me se da me auction bia an maka
na no ma na ewo warehouse mu no eno ma na o hwa ne bo be yese ni na bo be bese
edos
By mommy, say
Wabanu Quadi, Ombra, Meshe, yes, we are on Cabincha, yes, can I pay an assay. On Cabincha, I come and tell you. No, sir. Yea, now, then you don't know much of Muninano. Yes, Ram, sir. On Major Mamma, not assume the other. Yes, Ramuba. I didn't see I am meter fort in a ban, I didn't see it. Meter fort. A light and a blue, yano. I said, I don't know, I can't one card in the you're stopping or. But the Nippon, you are time by so now I see I lucky. It's a chance and say, I don't know, Bubu as I rat it's ordinary in your money man for.
So far, we have about 368 shops being affected for the worth of goods. They are now being assessed. I hear that the women have been assembled and then the market leader is meeting them to know the worth of goods.
Some of the young men who said they had to even come in to support to ensure that the flames were doused. What's the problem with getting the fire service and even fire tenders here to ensure that when these things or these incidents happen, we can handle it as soon as possible?
What the issue here is to even get access to where the fire was blazing was even difficult because there were no driveways. As you can see, where we're standing now, there were shops here. Yesterday, all these shops were brought down or they were lifted so that the fire tenders could get access to the place. So, and also we don't have...
My colleague Gemma Pia following that story at the Kasoa New Market. Away from that, the Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority has dismissed allegations of impropriety in the award of contracts for the production of vehicle number plates, insisting the arrangement is an extension of an existing agreement and permits subcontracting among local and bosses. The clarification follows accusations of malfeasance leveled against the authority by the Vehicle and Boss Association. Speaking on the AM show, Director of Corporate Affairs at the DVLA, Stephen Atu, dismissed the suggestions of impropriety, stressing that the authority has acted strictly within the law.
These are beautiful plates. And we've had friends who engaged us who wanted to register their cars. They were anticipatory. They were in wait for us to come out with it. But DVLA is a law-abiding institution. In fact, our conduct at DVLA is regulated by law.
Yes.
If we do anything that is outside of the law, anybody can take us.
As for that.
Yeah, so we do appreciate the enthusiasm. And we love the fact that Ghanaians have embraced the plates and the technology we sought to bring out. We can only apologize and indicate that, yes, it is not only on our part that we were not able to roll out the plate. It is because of the legal challenge we have had to do with the amendments proposal that we sought. You see, if we don't bring the public up to speed as to what we want to bring out, I doubt the enthusiasm you had with us, you have it with us again. If you wake up one day and realize that DVLA has amended their allies, they are introducing a new plate without you even knowing what is going into it.
Meanwhile, the DVLA has confirmed the delay in the rollout of its new high-security vehicle number plates, originally scheduled to begin in January 2026. The authority says the setback is due to ongoing legal and parliamentary processes yet to be completed.
After we finished with all the designs, we made the inputs to the amendment, what we needed specifically to be done. So, for instance, when we decided that we are coming out with a plate that has the region or the country, so you have Republic of Ghana on the plate. The existing plate does not have that. The government has an agenda to commercialize the use of motorbikes.
Okay.
So there you needed amendment in the Parent Act, which is the Road Traffic Act. That act was done. But the LI 2180 amendments did not mature.
Okay.
At the point, part of the discussions has to do with the fact that the LI had been in existence since 2012. There is a multi-agency LI. So DVLA has its portion. The MTTD has its portion. National Road Safety Authority has its portion. And a lot of amendments have been done over the years to get all these institutions functioning. So at the beginning, part of the argument was to the effect that, okay, why don't you overhaul? Because the LI has seen so many amendments so that it would incorporate all the amendments that have been done into a single document.
Now, the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission, GTEC, has asked that the management of the University of Ghana should reverse any recent fee increment and or due for the 2025-2026 academic year immediately. According to GTEC, publicly funded universities cannot review school fees or student fees without adhering to proper procedures, including seeking parliamentary approval as mandated by law. Accordingly, the university has also been asked by GTEC to credit all continuing students who have overpaid compared to last academic year's fees for the next academic year. Again, the university is to refund the difference to final year students who have paid in excess of the fees for last academic year and revert all dues, including SRC and GRASAC dues, to last academic year's rates, and in addition suspend any new fees such as the 75th anniversary dues and development levy, except for those that were already in place. This was contained in a letter dated January 5, addressed to the Vice-Chancellor of the University of Ghana, following last week's information that the university has increased fees. You're watching JoyNews Today. Please stay. There's more.
Welcome back to Business here on JoyNews Today. My name is Winston Taki, and our to our first business story. The Bank of Ghana is set to sell up to $1 billion to the market for this month as part of its foreign exchange intermediation program. This is what JoyNews has picked up from persons with knowledge of the central bank's forex auction initiative. Details in this report.
The Bank of Ghana, in the notice to traders seen by Joy Business, noted that this dollar support should be purely seen as part of its broader intermediation program. It noted that this should help deal with the expected volatility when the needs arises. The central bank is going ahead with this intermediation after selling up to $721 million in December 2025, slightly down from its initial target of $800 million. On the dollar supply for the rest of the year, the Bank of Ghana was quick to add that subsequent monthly intermediation will be guided by prevailing market conditions. The first quarter of this year has always been challenging for the Ghana cedi as businesses demand more dollars to help restock, as well as listed companies and banks trying to settle investors outside the country in terms of dividend payment. Many will be looking forward to see how things will be handled this time round in terms of managing the expected depreciation. According to the Bank of Ghana, the cedi appreciated by some 40% against the dollar for last year. It has even been classified by some international media groups as the fourth best performing currency in Africa.
Away from that, businesses have begun adjusting prices downward on VAT chargeable goods and services following the implementation of new VAT reforms and the revision of selected tax rate from last Friday. We have more in this report.
Our checks over the weekend in terms of goods bought from some shops show that they were indeed not charging the COVID-19 levy, as well as the effective rates of VAT dropping to 20%, a development resulting in prices going down on the market. These reductions are coming at a time that there have been concerns about whether a lot of firms can calibrate their systems early enough to implement these reductions. Telecoms giant MTN has also announced that it has dropped the price on all of its tariffs on products that charges VAT due to the implementation of these tax reforms. Based on the implementation of these reliefs, the expected taxes to be paid on items bought on the market has dropped from almost 22% to 20% in terms of the VAT to be paid. According to government, this move should put some 6 billion Ghana cedis in the pocket of businesses. Registered businesses can now claim an input tax on the National Health Insurance Levy as well as the GET Fund. Prospective mining would also not attract VAT, and there will be no VAT on locally produced textiles till 2028. The Ministry of Finance believes that these tax reliefs will help boost collection so that it can end the year meeting its revenue target.
We have more business update for you at 1 p.m. on the marketplace. That's all. My name is Winston Taki. We have more news for you right after this break. Stay tuned.
News today, and in Senate West, the roads are not just bad. They are a blockade, strangling the local economy and severing communities. Now, the local MP is taking unprecedented action, personally injecting 100,000 Ghana cedis to get vital road machines moving again. But His move underscores a deeper crisis, the collapse of critical infrastructure, and a nationwide call to move beyond political promises to permanent, depoliticized solutions. And Sabit has more.
It's your turn. So sorry to me for quacking in our say, as a pesisua, can't be as soon to me from. I knew you to Fiamana, import Nipa Crown Antiano, Edin Sorbenanti. Ye who's our body be as well, but so be your Koreama.
This is not a remote path. This is a major road in the Sene West district, a lifeline now severed, crippling communities and choking livelihoods. The deplorable state of roads here is a national issue with local consequences. Economic activity is grinding to a halt, and the Member of Parliament for Sene West, Honorable Chumasi Ampofu, says the time for mere promises is over.
Very, very deplorable. So the development is very slow or very low. Being motorbike, you find it difficult to go through. It's so sandy, so muddy during rain time, and the road sometimes, when it rains, you don't see the road. Period. We got a long time that we don't reshape the roads. So technically, it's not a road. We are beginning everything. So that's what I can say.
The drip machines are already here, but often sit idle due to lack of funds for fuel and maintenance. The MP's donation is a local stopgap, but his bigger proposal is for a dedicated national fund.
So as a Member of Parliament, I have to do what I have to do. I'll do my best. I know my funds are not much, but so far as the machines are here, we need to utilize the machines. But I think going forward, there should be funding for the machines, the drip machines, that can help, reshaping the roads. But as a start, I promise giving them 1 billion as the drip coordinator and his team to begin with.
But palliative care is not enough for some arterial roads. The MP saved his strongest criticism for the abandonment of a critical project, the Atebu Kwame Danso Road.
Our main road, Atebu Kwame Danso, is also a major issue. Major issue. But I hope, now that we are in power, I believe that President will come to our aid. President himself has come here several times. When we were in power, the road was under construction. But when we left power and MPP came for 8 years, they didn't tackle the road. Close to the election that they brought contractor on the road, which we knew that it was an election road that they were going to do. And exactly that's what they did. So I'm going to push, and I'm still pushing. So this is what I can say. We are praying that we get a lot of support.
From Sene West, the message is clear. The road to development is literally broken. And while the community-funded machine might begin the patchwork, what's ultimately required is a national commitment to follow through. Reporting for Joy News, Anas Sabit, Kwame Danso.
Delta region, construction work is progressing steadily on the Todome-Germany roads, which connects the two most viable economic communities in the South Dying district of the Volta region. The constructions, which are under the government's Big Push project, would also see the rehabilitation of some inner access roads in Germany. That's more in this report by Fred Kwame Asari.
Messiah Sanam Ghana Limited began construction works on the deplorable Germany-Todome road in late October 2025. The construction works entail the upgrading of the Todome roads through to Palime, Kaira to Germany, measuring about 17.7 kilometers. About 6 kilometers of roads in the Germany township would also be upgraded to enhance socio-economic activities. Earthworks are ongoing unabated, while side drains are also being constructed around the Kaira area. The South Dying District Chief Executive, Courage Kwame Kokroko, anticipates the road network to be completed in June 2026.
South Dying, our road network is very bad. That is from Todome to Germany has been a major problem to the residents of South Dying. Thank God we did that. Since October ending, the contractor came to site, and I believe when you were coming, you have seen the improvement on the road. Our prayer is that by the close of June, July, thereabout, the contractor should be able to finish with the work so that at least we'll be able to commute between Todome and Germany and do good business. That is the expectation of our people.
The Member of Parliament for Southern and Majority Chief Whip, Nelson Roxen Dapiamekbo, believes a better road network would accelerate the socio-economic development of the area.
That our roads will be completed. We've seen that major rigorous activities is ongoing on the road infrastructure. Culverts are being done. The contractor assures me that by June, the roads will be tarred. And then we'll deal with our water, extension of potable water to the area. We don't have, even though we are by the mighty lake, we don't have potable water. So
and in World Today, images show Venezuela's seized President Nicolas Maduro being transferred ahead of a court appearance in New York. Maduro, in handcuffs and escorted by armed officers, is seen alongside his wife, Celia Flores. The pair was seized at near Caracas compound on Saturday and flown to the U.S. as part of a dramatic special forces operation. Venezuela's new leader as well is due to be sworn in before the country's National Assembly. Allies of the deposed leader, including China and Iran, are calling on the U.S. to release him.